Welcome to Paper Gold Deep Dive Excavation Episode 11. We have a absolutely phenomenal show today. We have a married couple, the Estes family, and they are going to tell us about their journey and what they do now. And they've had a journey change in the past couple years. And they are a couple that works from home as full-time booksellers. And so I know there's going to be a lot of great viewers out there with a lot of great questions that we'll be answering in the chat once this is posted. But to Koty, first I say amazing, episode 11, amazing from what we started. Anything you want to say before we begin and have them introduce themselves?
No, I'm excited to get into it today.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go right into the introductions. All right. You guys want to introduce yourself? Tell us where you are from geographically, and tell us a little bit about your history of where you started, the journey, and where you are now, and then we'll get into the great questions you guys have.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm Koty Estes as well. We're in the Dallas, Texas area, about 30 minutes east of Dallas, and this is my wife, Megan. We've been married for about 11 years, like you're saying, and we've been in eBay and Amazon for roughly 5 to 6 years now. It all started with, I think, Gary V brought up the whole getting free stuff on Craigslist, right, and selling it online.
Okay.
Slowly kind of integrated garage sales and stuff like that. We started with $200, which was our grocery money for the week. And I told my wife that I'm going to go for it. I'm going to make it work. And, lo and behold, we actually did. We made it work. That first week, I think I bought a bunch of collectible Garfield things, and they sold really fast. So I was kind of hooked immediately in the whole reselling game. And I think eventually I'd stumbled upon one of Reezy Resells videos about selling books. And we actually had a library sale that was going on down the street. So I got my scanning software and listing software, and we just kind of went for it. We had ups and downs. I mean, when you're new to it, you make a lot of mistakes, obviously, but we eventually grew that book selling business to a point where we opened up a warehouse and bookstore in our city.
Beautiful.
And
Wow.
we had that for
a year and a half.
A year and a half, yeah. Our biggest problem was we had a really old building, and we had to make a lot of repairs. The forklift tore up big sections of the concrete, so we had a loan for the concrete to be repaired, and we had a lot of things built up. We just decided that, we're going to step out of this big overhead expense type thing and just go all in at the house. So now we're back in our garage, and I think we've been doing better than ever. I think bringing the knowledge of 5 years of book selling into a smaller area kind of makes me kind of push to be more efficient with my time and more deliberate with what we're doing. And I think it's really helped.
Did you enjoy the day-to-day of the brick and mortar, though?
It was long days. Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a bunch of
Megan's
kids
like,
at home.
I'm not going to answer this one yet.
Yeah.
I had a lot of health issues
Okay.
whenever we were going through that, because I was in my third pregnancy, and our son actually came out premature. And then shortly after, it was during the height of COVID. So he got COVID at 6 weeks old. And a lot of people don't know this, but that causes liver failure.
Okay.
So we had a baby with liver failure at home. I was actually going through a lot. And he was putting in 80 plus hours a week to keep up the overhead of the warehouse.
Yeah.
And so it took a toll on our family. So from the, I guess the relational side of things, it was really hard, but interacting with the community, like I said, well, he hasn't said it yet, but we were supplying the community with books at a very low cost, and it was helping our community. And that really was great to see. We also had an art fair that we did where we impacted a bunch of artists in the community as well. So that was really great to be a part of all that, but it really did
It took a lot out of us.
Took a lot out of us. It's
Yeah.
way better. We're in a 1-car garage that we like. This is all of our actual MF inventory behind us.
That's my world. In the garage, bookstore in the
Yeah.
garage. It actually works out great though, doesn't it?
It's
does,
great. It is
yeah.
wonderful.
Tall ceilings, tall shelves, go all the way to the top. Yeah. So, but one thing, you're also in a great book area though.
Yes, we're in the DFW area.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in a great area for books. So, I think where I want to start is I want to start with, you started, the first thing you saw was Garfield's. Is that what you
Right.
said?
Yeah.
So you were, then you saw some Reezy resale videos. So you were sort of balancing eBay and Amazon at the same time.
Yes.
So how quickly did it become books?
About a month in.
Yeah. Pretty quickly, because we had the library sale,
Mhm.
like I was saying, and we saw the opportunity in books. You could pick up a book for $1 and it might be worth $60 to $100, right? Or even more, depending on
That's
what
what
it
I
was.
keep telling people all over Instagram.
Right. So we definitely saw that there was more opportunity, at least for the time being, in books, and we kind of went all in on that. I didn't start getting into like rare books until we did like our bulk operation. I had my sorters separating books that didn't have barcodes, and I just did so much research on. I spent so many hours with research.
But you were definitely, I know we've been friends for a couple of years on Instagram. You've been picking my brain for a while now.
Yeah.
So
That's all he does.
I gotta text Max. I gotta text Max. But I always felt that you always had a good supply of some antiquarian books coming in because of the questions you were asking me were always very good books.
Yeah.
So that tells me, which is a very important tool in this business, you had the eye for it.
Yeah. I will say that in our local, like 20-30 minute area, we're kind of rural out here, 30 minutes from Dallas. The supply is not that great, but
Okay.
we've learned to keep our sourcing in Dallas, and it's been a game changer, honestly. When we were buying bulk initially, we were getting books from thrift stores that were local, and we'd get majority duds. I mean, we might pull out 20 books from a $100 pallet in some cases, and it just
Right.
was not. I mean, we're talking Walmart books and Dollar General books, and they weren't that great.
Right.
They weren't the kind of things that you'd want to sell on eBay or Amazon. I mean, we did a lot with lots with kids' books. Never really had success with lots of like fiction or anything like that. But yeah, the quality was not that great here in our local area. We spent a lot of time trying to make it worth it. But ultimately, when we cut that part out of our business, we excelled. We did a lot better.
I will say though that what we did find is that we kind of live in a place where people retire to because we live rural.
Right.
So because of that, whenever those people pass on, their families don't know what to do with the books. And so we are able to come in and like alleviate that from them. And then also that's where we get a lot of our supply of, the antique books and stuff like that.
Does it amaze you still, like it still amazes Koty and I, how much is out there?
Absolutely.
Daily.
Yeah. I always question like, wow, am I ever going to get another book like this? And then I'll get a better book,
You keep upping the wish list.
Yes, exactly.
We had an entire collection come in at one point that was all Freemason and occult stuff. And it was just
Stop.
It was crazy to see.
Has that all sold out now?
Yes.
It sold within a week.
I just sold well, the majority of it did. A couple things were long tail that were more rare.
Sure.
I just sold one of the last things last night. And it was just from somebody that wasn't as popular, but I had it listed with the keywords and stuff like that. So eventually it did sell.
Keywords, you must have learned that somewhere. I wonder where you Koty, do you they're eBay, Amazon, merchant, FBA. Where do you want to start with their journey? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's the same thing we try and target with every person that comes in. We've got questions, but in my mind, the best use of the time is if there was one pain point that you ha were to have fixed by the end of the hour, what would that pain point be? What is causing you the maybe not even necessarily the biggest struggle, but the
Mhm.
next hurdle that you're trying to overcome?
That's a good question. I guess mainly how to get more good books,
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, the
Okay.
Yeah.
dog.
So are you guys advertising a lot now?
We don't do any advertisement really. Yeah. We
I
have a
Well,
think
you,
you just
domain.
answered your own question.
Yeah, I think you're
Um,
right.
right. So, if someone passes and they call you, how did they hear about you in your
Uh,
area?
we we have a domain that's called Dallas Book Donations, and
Okay.
the page just basically says we help keep books out of landfills. And I've had that domain for um, probably since we've had the bookstore, so a few years now. And
Phenomenal. Okay.
it gets phenomenal organic traffic at this point. I considered advertising for a while, but honestly, we're so busy with how it is. I mean, I haven't even pushed that button yet.
So do you have employees or is it a husband and wife show 24/7?
It's mainly my wife and I. We have someone to watch our kids. That's our
Right.
employee.
That's part of the team though, for sure.
Oh,
Yes,
she's definitely,
yes.
yeah.
I will ask though, I know you said that like your local thrift stores, stuff like that that you were working with, was that when you first got into books? Is that when you were working with them, or is that like midway through your journey? Were you just scanning at that point? What was your position when you were initially working with those stores?
Well, yeah, initially we were trying to get our feet wet with bulk. We knew that there was opportunity there. And so we just went to the local thrift stores and said, hey, we'll buy all of your books. And
It actually started out with we got it whenever we decided to do books full time. Because I remember like at the beginning, I was telling Cody, like, we need to find a niche. What's our niche? Pick a niche.
Mhm.
And whenever he decided it was books, he contacted Hayden Aquilon,
yeah,
and he became our mentor. And so part of our mentor program was that he got us our first lead, which was actually Salvation.
yeah,
Beautiful.
And so we were able to get a contract with them and, get their duds from them. And then we started working with, I got really like over it and I was like, we're going to find somebody else. And
Right.
so I started calling around to pretty much everywhere. And we had already been going in just as supplementary on the weekends because we're kind of workaholics. And we would go in and scan. So we started making, connections with these people just to get into their back room. And then after doing that, they were like, well, why are you so weird about books? Like, why are you weird book people? And so we explained to them what we were going to do. And there was actually a local women's shelter that they double as a thrift store.
Okay.
And so they needed help getting rid of their books. And so we were able to come in and kind of facilitate. And we did that all the way up until I want to say like June of last year.
mhm.
And then by that point, we had already had our website for 3 years, 2 years, 2 years roughly. And so by that point, it was just taking off. And so we didn't really need to do the thrift stores anymore. And they had already had other people that were interested. So we just kind of handed that off and did our own thing.
Okay. Yeah, no, I would just I mean if you're looking for more sourcing, that is kind of my bread and butter are the thrift stores, but I think that it's super key to make sure that you are getting the raw inventory that's coming in, not the books that have been sitting on the shelf that have sat there too long. You
Right.
want to work with a place where they don't care. Like books aren't even a thing that they worry about. They'll put books on their shelf, though they may rotate them out like once or twice a year. But the trick with finding a place like that is you're basically doubling up and having one place that you're picking up from that does what you do already, right? So you're going and you're picking up from these estates. Where do those estates go when they don't go to you? Right? They get dropped off, they're donated. They're donated to thrift stores, they're donated all over the place. It's not going to be a banger every single time, but it's going to be a banger more often than not. And by the end of the year, I mean you can keep track. I don't know what you guys are currently using to do your processing? Are you using Scout IQ? Is that what you use?
We started with Scout IQ. I'm actually running on Scoutly right now because they have a little bit more media integration, which we do a lot of DVDs as well. That's something that we pick up, and I have used Scout IQ. I used it for a few years, and then I started with Scoutly, and I just kind of preferred it. They have a lot of smaller features that I can go back and look at different things, and just prefer it at this point.
Well, let me bring another thing to your attention that I utilize. And if you guys are doing bulk, I would definitely recommend maybe moving up into this, which is I use Pallet IQ. Okay, so it's basically it used to be an invite only platform. It's no longer invite only. They're the same people who own Scout IQ. They're the ones who
Right.
came up with it. The founder actually, that was his preferred method of processing his inventory. That's what he used. And what I like about Pallet IQ is I'm able to go through and set my source. Okay, I can put where my books are coming from, and by the end of the scanning session, I can see exactly how that source performed, and you can keep up with it for the entire year or for several years, and see how each source that you're picking up from and how those places are performing. But the best feature for me, I know you're starting based on our conversation to be more inclined to send some stuff into FBA that like maybe on the long tail, but are you doing anything non-barcode on Amazon, or are you putting all of that on eBay?
Oh yeah, no, I do send non-barcodes to Amazon. Anything that like I do the face scans,
Hmm.
and I just go off of is the rank good? Is it overpriced? Can I underprice it and sell it based on Keepa? But yeah, no, we do send a lot of non-barcode to Amazon.
So what I love about my favorite feature on Palette IQ is when you get the ACE and paste it into into the software, you can hit print, and it will print out a barcode that's associated to that ASIN. So when you're going to list, you're not having to write down the ASIN if you did a manual lookup. You just click a button, it prints it, it's right there. Same with ISBN books too. So like if I also they're integrated with Scout IQ as well. So when you have let's say a book that has a ISBN, if I were to scan that ISBN with their OCR, it will pop up on Palette IQ so that I can just immediately print the barcode out right there. So it's like that just being able to print the barcode is worth, in my opinion, what the cost of the software is every month, just because the amount of time that it saves me. But I would suggest, even if it's not Palette IQ or looking, I would try and find software that is better suited for bulk, because that time that you save, that you're able to process things faster and more efficient and be able to keep track of, okay, maybe I need to cut this source out. Oh, I know this source has been doing great. I can keep up with this one. I think more so getting that efficiency down pat will allow you to be able to go through and maybe find more sources or build stronger sources when you're trying to process this type of stuff.
For sure. We
Yeah.
actually used Palette IQ back when it first came out.
Okay.
And I think that was when we were first getting into the bookstore, and it was very useful. I mean, there was a lot of features that your normal scanning software doesn't have. And then we eventually upgraded to Cash Monkey, which
Okay.
was
That's
incredible.
expensive. Yeah.
That's like
It
gold to
was.
Koty. He will
Yeah.
die on that hill.
They had a lot of great
Oh yeah.
features. Like, I mean, you could pick the warehouse you wanted to ship to, you'd get it there every time, no splits. They also had the OCR to a label. Yeah, many little things like that that made it so much more efficient. The biggest reason why I'm not using something like that now is because, I mean, all of our inventory at this point is from our website, our free pickups.
Sure.
So we haven't we run our costs based on how much gas does it take to get there.
Mhm.
So as far as keeping track of a specific source, it's just one right now. So that's
But it is really, really great. Like we go out every Thursday and Friday, fill up our van, scan in. I don't know where you guys are located, but there's a place down here called Half Price. We scan in their parking lot, drop the duds to them, and then just go home with the greens.
How convenient is that?
So how many would you say you're processing every week
It varies for sure. We
on
probably get,
average?
yeah. So, I mean, sometimes we have big pickups that we go do, and then sometimes it's three or four smaller ones. So, but we probably scan like anywhere from 500 to 2,500 units a week, maybe even more than that, depending on like a couple weeks ago, we went and picked up like 80 something boxes with a U-Haul, and that was just thousands and thousands of books. So we kind of stepped up our production and got through those a lot faster. We had to bring that home because there were
Where
so
did
many.
those come from?
It actually came from a man whose aunt had passed away.
Okay.
So he just like he had a what was it, a storage unit, and
Yeah.
then her entire house was like a library.
So you had to take everything, alleviate the pressure from them, and then you sorted and made your profit once you sorted.
We also work with several junk companies in the area,
Okay.
which that's like I highly recommend that. You just call them up because they're already getting paid to take the stuff off.
Right.
Pick it up for free from them and alleviate it because they're just going to throw it in a landfill if not.
But you guys are actively, I mean, you said it earlier, you're actively looking for more sources. You want more you want an influx of more books.
Well, I want to find a way to get more better books,
Okay.
handpicked good, like somebody's collection that's
Oh yeah,
worth
yeah.
more.
I think both Koty and I will definitely have information for you on that. But my opinion is because you're in a smaller town, but you're also outside of Dallas, you're in a great area to either advertise on Facebook Marketplace, or I do this myself down here in South Florida in one of the small local newspapers, not the big city paper. What do you have, the Dallas Morning News there or something like that?
Yeah,
I would say one of those small city papers, buy a 1 or 2 inch ad for like $20 a week, and you know that's going to pay for itself in the first book haul.
yeah,
But if you know, there's still a lot of people, older and elderly, who read those 32-page newspapers. That's what they do every week, and
yeah.
they literally read it from cover to cover, and they look at those classifieds. And I would go pick one up if I were you guys and see if there's any other book dealers already in there. If there's no book dealers in there advertising, jump in on that, and then you can take your pick when these people call you if you want to have the interest of buying their collection. But
Right.
I think Koty, and Megan, that's where you guys need to push a little bit towards.
Yeah, I would agree.
And paying up, that's going to be the key. You
Yeah.
got to be like you're not going to get. I mean, you may once in a blue moon get a really nice collection from somebody just willing to give it all up. But more often than not, they know, even if it's the family member, they know
Right.
that these collections, they're not cheap. So
Yeah.
me, I would every time I advertise, regardless if I'm going to pay them for books, I advertise that I buy books in bulk.
Right.
I buy books. I buy collections. I don't just pick up collections. I buy them because when I get there, I can look and see if it's a collection that I'm willing to pay for or not. And I tell
Right.
that to them. I'm like, hey, whenever I come, or if you want to send me pictures, I can tell you what I would be able to give you guys for this collection right off the bat. And that alone, make it like converting the way you're advertising to that. Not only will you get more calls, but you're going to get the calls from people who would rather try and sell. They know the books are worth money. They don't know how to sell them, but they don't want to give them away.
Right.
That's going to be the next step when it comes to finding those collections, because again, they just unless you're working again. I will say this. I know you did not have the best success with the thrift stores, but each donation that you're getting from these places, they are all going to be different, right? Just
Yeah.
because they weren't great one time doesn't mean they're going to be bad the next time, because you're not going to have one financial, not one class of people donating to a thrift store. It's going to be super wide but as long as you're picking up consistently from that place, I mean, it is just, it's great money, and you're building the resources for these people. Because I've had numerous times where the I'll get a call because they reached out to the thrift store saying, "Hey, I have all these books. Will you guys pick them up?" And they won't do it because they don't want to deal with books, but they
Right.
give them my card, they give them my number, and I go in and I pick everything up. It is a great resource to have. And once you clear through all their junk at the start, which is usually the stuff out front, if they do give you that, and you're getting specifically what comes in as donations, you're going to win. And it's going to be hard to not do great off of that stuff
Right.
too.
And one thing we need to add is Koty and I both, we definitely push monetizing duds in the Paper Gold Network. And what Koty's talking about too is, even if he pays up to buy a collection, he already knows in the back of his head he's going to be monetizing X amount of this, of the duds that he's not going to be putting up on, say, eBay or FBA or going FBM, that there's still money to be made from those duds. And so you can pay up, and that dud money sort of, he'll still profit from it, but he's you can pay up because you're going to be making money from those duds.
Right.
I think that's probably the direction YouTube probably need to venture into, is learning how to monetize those duds and paying up for those great collections. Because one thing that we preach over and over again is the books are everywhere, but it only takes that one great collection that you get maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year. Those collections will pay you for the next 2 or 3 years, nearly every day of your life.
Well, I mean, like, part of the reason why we don't work with thrift stores anymore is we got pushed out actually from thrift books. Well, there's a thrift books in Dallas, and they took over all the, like, we were working with Goodwill at one point, and Goodwill decided they were going to exclusively sell to them. But the actual question that I have is, like, what do you guys do with your duds then? Because like we said, we just take them up to half price, and because they have a storefront and they can kind of like hold it long term and stuff. We don't have a ton of space.
Right.
So like in this scenario, what do you guys do?
So there's two answers to that. The first answer was, you said you work with Goodwill. Goodwill is off the table when it comes to doing this. You want to target small town thrift stores. You don't want to target those people. And thrift books, I've had the same thing with a lot, because I work with thrift stores, libraries, estate sale companies. I work with all of them, and I would say like 20% of them work with thrift books. You can not only do better than thrift books, you would be surprised how little they're paying them for this stuff. And you'll be able to convince them to go with you. I mean, it's really not hard. When I was using crates to buy my books, my collapsible crates that I can stack everything, I was paying $5 a crate, and I would fill it up. So I'm obviously they're stacked in, they're nice and neat, but they were astonished that I was paying that much. This is coming from the places that we're working with thrift books. So that I'm telling you, that is if you're doing the bulk, picking up twice a week, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be really hard to scale your business picking up, 500 to 1,000, processing 500 to 1,000 books in a week. You can hit a plateau, but you're eventually going to be at that plateau. You won't be able to go much further than that. So I would really recommend have it, because in between these pickup times, having a place that every 2 weeks you're going to get up, they're going to call you. They're going to call me. They've filled up. Like right now, I've been giving my stores plastic Gaylords, and they fill those up. And when it's full, they call me. And I know that when it's getting filled up, it's because they're dumping the boxes that people are bringing in as donations into there. They don't have to look at it. It's out of the way, and it's something that works really well for me. But as far as monetizing, I go back to Palette IQ. You can do this on your own mind, but you're in Palette IQ. I'm able to set a specific trigger called the bookstore trigger. So books that hit a specific mark for me, such as their rank and e-score, if they hit a certain mark that I set it to, it'll pop up, say, bookstore. And those are the books that I target to places that will buy books. So you know you're going to have bookstores that'll do that, but you don't want to target small town bookstores for this. You want to target the big box bookstores, the
Right.
places where they're working with 100 other stores and they can ship back and forth. Target those books, which are basically your super fast selling books, not even super fast, faster selling books, and sending those there, right? And I get in-store credit. Just as an example, let me put it right here. I took 25 crates to the store that I work with last week, and they accepted most of it. They're sending back 9 crates to me, but of those 25 crates, I got $456 in-store credit. And of the beautiful thing about that credit is you're not it averages out to be about 33 cents or so per book, but I'm not getting that. I'm not getting 33 cents. I'm just getting that in credit because what you're
Right.
buying are books that they're selling for a certain price and you're going to get one that you're going to be able to resell. You're kind of like cherry picking with your in-store credit. So if I go in there and I spend $100 of in-store credit, I'm walking out with $300 in sellable goods. So
Yeah.
that's one of the, and that's about 30% of what I process every time I'm processing. Usually on average, 30% will go into that section for me. I used to I used to not even bother with my duds because I had a 24-yard dumpster that I was working with a recycling company, and I would just walk out, fill that thing up. Once it was full, they came and picked it up. I hardly made anything from it, but the lack of energy and effort was worth not having to do that. But now that I have to put in more effort, I need to be able to monetize from it. And I would
Right.
say within the past, what I've been doing that for like 6 months or so, max. I've got it on in-store credit, probably close to $1,800, $2,000
Right.
left in credit,
Right.
not what I've actually, not including what I've spent.
Yeah, and Megan and Koty, that means he's playing with house money.
Yeah.
Right.
He turns those duds into credit when he feels like it. When he goes back there again, he can go shopping there, and he's not 2xing.
Right.
He's 5, 6, 10, 15xing with that credit.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now he's cherry picking from the duds.
Mhm.
And this is something that I do locally with a used bookstore that I have. But we've been really pushing this with our paper gold community because you can go cherry picking at the bookstores if you guys can develop a relationship, with at least 1 or 2 used bookstores in the Dallas area that will kind of like the books. They sell the kind of books that we consider duds. Now you have another income stream. And this is that next level of book selling that I would love to get you guys into.
And this goes back to processing more books, right? This is going to be like the more you're processing, the more this is going to add up to you. When you're bringing in, 3 or 5 totes, it's not going to be that much. But when you're able to bring in 20 plus totes, then you're going to start to see a real number coming from that. So it's that's the direction that I would point you in, at least from my end, doing the bulk side of things.
Is
Yeah.
that something that's feasible and viable for you guys in your area?
Well, Half Price Books has been a big deal because they take our duds as well, and it's one stop, and they actually pay us cash.
Okay.
I don't know how many bookstores in the area actually give you store credit.
Yeah.
We'd have to look into that.
Half Price kind of
Right.
rules it over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but I have to believe in the Dallas area, there's some really good used bookstores. I have
Right.
Are
have
you
to
sure
believe
that Half Price doesn't give you credit?
Positive.
Yeah.
They will only do
Okay.
money.
Yeah.
Like they only do cash.
But there could be some places, if we did separate a little better on what we take to those places, there might be some
Right.
places around here that, would give us credit and we could work that same kind of deal, which
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Something that we can.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth your investment in time of an afternoon where you guys can just call some used bookstores or make it a date day. Just go to those bookstores together, go shake hands with the proprietors and really, really convince them, of what you're doing and build that. We're always about building relationships.
Mhm.
Build those relationships with those bookstores because they're going to be your biggest allies.
And they don't have to be in your, 5-10 minutes down the road. Like the one that I work with, I probably called 20 different places before I ended up where I'm going, and it's about 40 minutes away from me, right? But I'm not going there with all of my duds, right? I'm saving the books that go to that store, and
Right.
as that will build up, then I take the trip down there. Usually when I'm there, I'm also sourcing at the same time. So I end up doing both together.
Yeah. And they're probably much more happy with that. We've kind of exhausted our half price stores around here. Sometimes they don't like it when we come in because, we're bringing them duds and, some are good.
Yeah,
Right.
the one closest to us literally looked at me the other day and said, "I'm going to give you $4 for what you brought in." And I said, "I'm going to go to the one that's down the road."
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be afraid to pivot and as a young business, always experiment. Don't ever stop experimenting and reaching out to the community. I can earnestly tell you that both Koty and I have reached out to our community locally in Georgia for him, Florida for me. And the more we've done it, the more success I guarantee you we've had. And we're one-man shows, and we should be three-man shows at this point with how busy we are. We're too busy. We don't want to stop though because we enjoy the dizzying ride of the roller coaster of the book world. But I want you guys to continually experiment and reach out. And if you feel like something like, why would I call this company? That's the reason to call them, because you don't know and you're not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I work with so many clean out companies like you guys. I mean, I get calls daily from clean out companies that just like, please take this. They'll send me one or two or three pictures. I make the move, and I never say no, because I've learned through all my years. I've learned even in the worst pile of books, there's always paper gold in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always, always.
and maintaining the relationship is worth
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
That's
You help
that's the
them, they help you, and everybody's happy. And then they give your name and number to somebody that needs the help in their world too. This
Yeah.
is how you grow your brand and your business.
And that comes back to that point of saying paying up for these collections, because not only will you get the people that are happy that you're taking books, but you're going to get the people that are like, yeah, dude, they came and they picked up books and they gave me a stack of cash for it too. And you're going to people are going to be much more inclined to share that information
Right.
versus that somebody came and picked up books from their house.
For
And
sure.
word of mouth is it can become very, I mean, for me, because I don't even have a website, right? My word of mouth is based off of business cards and doing pickups, and I get calls weekly, for different collections all over the place from estate sale companies, which I think we should probably touch on too, Max. You're talking about finding another and finding better collections. Finding your way into at least a few of these estate sale companies that will let you come in early, or finding a way to work your magic with them, because that's how one of my Max knows about this. The one of the better companies that I work with now, I was giving them, they sell properties as well, right? But I was giving them leads for sales. I've got 3 different houses that have been sold by them from a lead from me, and they wanted to give me a chunk of that. And I told them, I said, no, I just want to have access to every estate sale you have before it goes live.
Yeah.
And getting in and working with them that way, to now I'm doing consignment for them. They're telling me I've taught them how to look stuff up. So this goes a little bit beyond books, but when they're ready to sell something online or sell something that's more expensive than what they would be selling at the estate sale, they're sending me a picture, and I'm selling it for them.
Yeah. Matter of fact, after this interview, I'm going to an estate house that's going to be an estate sale this weekend, and I'm getting to look at the collection, and buy before the sale. And if you really want to look for better books and get better books, this is the roadmap for it.
Hmm.
get to those estate sales before they let the public in. Because Megan mentioned earlier, when someone dies, well, that's why we really have estate sales most of the time. Someone
Yeah.
has died, or there's been a tragedy of some sort, or someone's moved, and that's when you get someone's entire collection of their books. So if you guys can start opening those doors to your business and then making money from your duds, it's game over for you. You're going to just grow and naturally, and grow where you're going to have to hire an employee other than the babysitter. Of course, you're going to have someone else helping you out moving these books to and fro.
Yeah.
So, do we have enough time for another question?
Yeah.
Are you paying for that question? Of course we do, Meg.
My only other question is, like, whenever we do take on another employee,
Sure.
we had a team of like 10 before when we had our warehouse,
Love it.
but when we're trying to be as like cost effective as possible, and we have 4 kids that are young that need mom and dad every
Yeah.
single day. So we can't be grinding our faces off. We don't want to be back in the position where we're having to, put 80 hours in,
Beautiful point. Beautiful point.
And so when you bring on that first employee, obviously besides our babysitter, what would you recommend them to do? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I know.
would
I
like
know what
to.
Cody's going to say. I
Yeah.
know what Cody's going to say. So I'm going to let him talk first.
Yeah. You 100. I would 100% get them listing for you first. Okay.
That's what I've been
What
saying.
100%, because first off, let's just be honest, listing sucks. Everybody hates it. It's not fun. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you like buying and finding cool stuff, listing is not that part. And as long as what you're making their life easy, it is an easy job to train. And what I mean by that is, like, for me, for instance, I print out my barcodes. There's no looking or typing. Everything is printed. If it doesn't already have a barcode on the book, I have one there for them. When I have a book that's a certain price, right? My long tail books, or books that are priced inaccurately, I put on that barcode that I print out, I put the price that it needs to be. They scan it in, but they also have a separate document that they because when you scan that, it's going to just put up that the barcode numbers. So it'll put that there, and then along with that price, so that when they list it, all I got to do is pull up our shared document, go to my repricer, and set exceptions for that, so that it doesn't compete against everybody else who's priced wrong. But in addition to hiring them, I strongly recommend you don't pay them per hour. This is just my opinion, but this has worked really well for me. I pay them per listing. Okay. My guy gets 45 cents per listing and $2 per box that he has filled. That's what I do on my end. I pay, I think, probably on the higher end, but with that, that comes with being diligent, right? They know that there's going to be some boxes where they can fly through it really quickly, but there's going to be other boxes where there's going to be more manually priced books. If let's say I'll put a certain note, like C is for collectible. That's their way to know it has to be listed in collectible condition, because it's it's a book where, let's say, Amazon's pricing is wrong. Like, their list price is $2, but really you can sell the book for $50+. But you make it to where their only job is condition the book, right? They evaluate what don't be preconditioning everything. Let them do that. Let them catch your mistakes. Let them catch the books that have the separated bindings, or somebody's written something vulgar inside the page. Let that be a part of their job for every single book. And if you're paying them per listing, they have motivation to move quickly and efficiently, but also you know that it's something that's so easy to incorporate in what you're doing, right? You know that the only if the difference between that book being good or not being good is 45 cents, well, then toss it. If 45 cents is the breaker, but if not, send it, because you know that you're going to make money from it. So paying them that way, in my opinion, at least on the Amazon side of things, is going to take away a big annoying headache and start bringing in some sales faster. You're going to be able to go through and process more books, because that right now I can tell you is from what I'm seeing and based off what I've heard, is the biggest problem is y'all don't process enough inventory to scale up your business.
And
Yeah.
do you guys have a vision of where you want to be? Do you know where you would like to be in this business?
Financially, probably somewhere at like 10K a month. I mean, that's kind of our goal right now.
And so
Uh,
do you feel like you are working there? You're getting there progressively?
Yeah.
We're growing. We are growing. It's
Awesome.
just
Okay.
the problem is we get capped out with time, and
Yeah.
that's why our next step is to hire on.
Yeah. Especially
But
with the kids, and then even during the workday when we have to
Mhm.
stop to go help the kids,
But
there's
if you
just
have that employee in place, like Koty says,
right.
the business is still running,
Mhm.
you're still listing, that means you're still selling.
Right.
And I already know this from talking to you guys, you'll be able to enjoy the kids a little bit more. Yeah,
For sure.
I would definitely say I would start having that deep conversation about, are we ready to hire somebody now? Because they're only going to bring great value to your business. And don't do it too late to the point where you guys burn yourself out and then you decide it.
Yeah.
Do it ahead of time, because you won't get to that point.
For sure.
Yeah, Koty could not do what he's doing now without his employee. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
That employee has added so much value to his business that he's not even looking back. He's looking to expand even more now.
And
Yeah.
it keeps me diligent on making sure the stuff that I'm pulling is actually valuable. I have to make sure that when it's going in, I don't have that option of double checking when it comes to time to being at the computer to list. I have to make sure that that's done and ready. And just as a point of reference, I actually had my wife helping me train him while I was working, but 3 hours. Within 3 hours, he had learned. He's never been an Amazon person, never been a book person, never understood the market, nothing like that. He learned how to list books, condition books, and that day went home with crates of books. By the end of the week, had 275 books boxed up and processed and ready for me to ship out to Amazon.
Ready to get sold. That's the beautiful part.
Yeah, and he works from home, so I don't have to worry about keeping, whatever hours that they work, they have to be able to work with mine.
Right.
Nope, everything goes in a crate. He comes by, he drops off boxes, and he picks up crates.
Right.
That's how it works every single week.
And I can tell you one odd fact about my lister. My lister is a night owl, so he's listing books at midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So when I wake up, I have this slew of emails of all the listings that happened while I was sleeping. And there is something beautiful about knowing your business is running in that way 24 hours a day. I'll be the daytime worker and he'll be the nighttime worker, but listings are just constantly going up. And you guys already know this. The more good books you list, the more books you're going to sell. And that's the bottom line. So if you can integrate that into your business, I cannot wait for our part 2 conversation on this, where you start saying, yeah, we're making our 10 grand a month. Now we're going to be a little bit greedy. How do we get to 15, 20 grand? Because that's all I did in my business is I learned how to go in stages of increments of money. How do I make 200 a day? How do I make 400 a day? How to make 500 a day? And you do learn it as long as you're diligent and experimental. Yeah. Koty, one last thing I want to talk about, a little bit odd, but it's in their question log, which is Whatnot. You guys are interested in Whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I've been doing it just about 6 months now. It's very much of a fun thing for me. I love doing it. I love interacting with the people who follow me. But I did start off very slow and I had to learn how to get followers.
Right.
One of the negatives I see on Whatnot is people are just trying to sell their junk and their lower end merchandise. And I don't treat it like that. If you've watched my Whatnot, I'm putting up 100, 200, $300 books and starting them at $5.
Right. Well, I would assume that's how you really build a good following.
Yeah. So I did a show yesterday and I had $100 pre-bid on a book before the show started.
Hmm.
So I knew money was being made, right off the bat. But out of the 20 books that I did, or 19 books yesterday, I had pre-bids on 12 of those 19 before I even started the show.
Well,
So,
how does that work? The pre-bids. I'm not familiar with that. I know Whatnot to be
right.
just a platform you go on. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, here it is.
Yeah, my lister will put one or two pictures of each book up on the specific show for that week. And so those books are being previewed by all your followers ahead of time. So they're all doing their homework, they're comping everything out on listing, and they will just actively put a pre-bid in. Maybe they're not going to be at the show, but they want to make sure at least they have a shot to win the book.
Mhm.
But I had 12 pre-bids on 19 books before the show started. And it was about a $400 show in 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
So I enjoy it so much that I started doing my shows are normally on Monday, but I started doing a Sunday show too at 2 in the afternoon. And I'm trying to expand to 3 days a week. And this is a symptom of, boy, there's so much books out there.
Right.
Two, I enjoy the platform. I just enjoy talking about the book, holding it in my hands, and having people ask me questions about it. It's just a different way of selling, and so I thoroughly enjoy that. And the third aspect for me is I'm growing a following on it. Some of the people who bought actually became Paper Gold members, and so now I get to learn about them deeper and deeper, and help them become greater and better booksellers. And so what I'm learning, and Koty's going to laugh at this, is I'm really loving social media. A year ago, Koty, I would have been caught dead doing much social media. Now I'm putting my face on the screen, talking about books at red lights, doing Whatnot twice a week, and talking about these books. And I'm probably driving Koty crazy with all the social media I'm doing. But he knows I enjoy it, and I'm enjoying it more and more.
I would assume also the people that purchase from you on Whatnot, I'm sure you have some type of link to your eBay store.
I talk about it. I talk
Yeah.
about Instagram. I talk about Paper Gold. I talk about it all. I'm not trying to take away business from any platform, but I'll say on Whatnot, go check out my eBay store.
Right.
If there's something you want me to run, and I can, as long as it's not a consigner's book, I'll run it. I mean, I'm a bookseller. I'm not collecting. I'm not hoarding them. If I can run something, I'm going to run it, and I want to get it into the hands of the next person. And if they're a reseller, even better. I love working with resellers, just
Yeah.
like I like talking to them. I would just say start it. Just start it, and you can send me messages, and we can do a FaceTime together, and I'll walk you through the process of it. But if I think you should always experiment with something new, because you might thoroughly enjoy it the way I'm now enjoying it. I was dreading it when I first started it. I was dreading it. Didn't want to do it, but I knew I had to try something different. And now I'm all in. I think we should be sponsored by Whatnot at this point. But I'm all in on it, and I will help you guys do that. If you want to pursue that avenue.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Sweet. That'd be great.
I think that brings us close enough to the hour. We are going to hit you guys back up in a couple months though for part 2. We're gonna see where you at. The beauty of what I said earlier is this is episode 11. You guys are celebrating your 11-year anniversary tonight or tomorrow. Tomorrow. So that number 11's in the air. Go play the lottery. You know what to do. If we don't hear from you again, we know you won millions at the lottery. But we're definitely going to check. Yeah, we're definitely going to check back with you. We'll see you Thursday night for the Paper Gold show. And Koty, anything in leaving? Any parting words for them?
Get more books.
Get more. I mean, that's what the whole show is about for you guys. Get more books. Koty and I are here for you guys. Any questions you have, you can ask. We want to see you grow. We want to see your dreams come true. And although Koty and I work very hard every day, we do smile and laugh about all this great stuff because we are just shocked every day at what the prices of books sell for. And now is such a great time to be in the book market, selling used books, because there are so many platforms available to us to sell in. And it's just been an amazing journey for all of us.
Absolutely.
So we will see you Thursday night. We'll see you in a couple months for part 2 and get the update, but we'll definitely see you Thursday night. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye. Thank you.